Happy morning students, I am your RVR sir. Today we are going to learn one more important and beautiful concept, which is nothing but double refraction or production of polarization by double refraction. In the previous class we have already discussed production of polarization by reflection or polarized light by reflection. Now we are going to discuss the concept called double refraction. Double refraction, or this can also be known as birefringence. So today we will discuss what is double refraction. Now already we discussed the polarization by refraction as well as refraction. Now we are going to discuss the polarization by double refraction. In order to understand this concept, let us consider the diagram. All of you look at the diagram. Let AB is the unpolarized light ray. As we already know that unpolarized light ray is represented with two components. One is vertical component, another one is horizontal component. Horizontal component I represented with the arrow marks and vertical component I represented with the dot marks. This is, in other words, we can say that AB is the unpolarized light ray. Unpolarized AB is the unpolarized light. AB is the unpolarized light ray. Now, whenever it is incident on certain crystals, like anisotropic crystals, it undergone two refractions. One light ray having the vibrations parallel to the principal section of the crystal, and the another light ray is having the vibrations perpendicular to the principal section of the crystal. Principal section is nothing but a plane in which the optic axis of the crystal lies is called principal section. Now, if you observe carefully, these arrow mark components are horizontal components which is consisting of horizontal vectors, and the dot components having a light component perpendicular to the principal section of the crystal. The arrow marks light ray, we call it as extraordinary light ray. Extraordinary light ray, or simply we can say that E ray. And the dot component light ray, that is the light ray having the perpendicular component, we call it as ordinary light ray. Ordinary light ray, or we call it as O ray. Here the extraordinary light ray is making an angle of refraction which is represented as RE, and the ordinary light ray is making an angle of refraction which is represented with RO, not R0. This is RO. So AB is the unpolarized light ray, and when it is incident on the calcite crystal or quartz crystal, then it split up into two components. One is one component is having the vibrations parallel to the principal section of the crystal. We call that component as extraordinary ray, and the other component is having the vibrations perpendicular to the principal section of the crystal. We represented with the dot components, and which satisfies all the laws of refraction, hence it is called ordinary ray. And the extraordinary ray generally does not satisfy the ordinary laws of refraction, hence we call it as extraordinary ray, because it is having some extra, hence it is called as extraordinary ray. So, but both the rays are plane polarized. That is the beauty of this particular double refraction concept. I am repeating the concept, all of you listen carefully. Whenever an unpolarized light ray is incident on anisotropic crystal, anisotropic crystal. What do you mean by anisotropic crystal? Can any one of you please tell me? Or what do you mean by isotropic crystal? You might have studied isotropic crystals in the previous class itself. Isotropic crystal is nothing but a crystal which is having all physical properties same in all directions. Then it is called isotropic crystal. Anisotropic crystal in the sense a crystal which is exhibiting different physical properties in different directions. Then it is called anisotropic crystals. The best example for anisotropic crystals are calcite crystal, quartz crystal, etc. Calcite crystal, quartz crystal, etc. are the examples for the what we call it as anisotropic crystals. Let we consider this as a we proceed the experiment. We in the sense the scientist who performed it, who discovered it, proceeded the experiment with the calcite crystal. So, whenever an unpolarized light ray is incident on an anisotropic crystal such as calcite, quartz, then it split up into, it undergone two refractions. One is the light ray having the components perpendicular to the principal section and obeys all the ordinary laws of refraction. It is called ordinary light ray or O ray, and the other light ray generally does not obey the ordinary laws of refraction and is having the vibrations parallel to the principal section or optic axis of the crystal. Hence that light ray we call it as extraordinary light ray or E ray. Here, what do you mean by ordinary laws of refraction? You might have studied in the previous class itself. Ordinary laws of refraction. There are two ordinary laws of refractions. One is, you know that Snell's law. That is, refractive index of the medium, second medium is equal to the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction, provided the first medium is the air medium. Otherwise, mu2 by mu1 equal to sin I by sin r. That is the statement of Snell's law. Now, coming to the, what about the second law of refraction? That second law of refraction is nothing but, which tells us that the incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal must be in the same plane. These two are the ordinary laws of refraction. So this particular ordinary light ray or O ray satisfies all these two ordinary laws of refraction, whereas the extraordinary light ray does not satisfy this particular ordinary laws of refraction. Hence it is called extraordinary, it is called ordinary. Because it satisfies the ordinary laws, hence it is called ordinary light ray. It doesn't satisfy the ordinary laws, hence it is called extraordinary light ray. Now, coming to the refractive index of the RE is the angle of refraction for the what we call it as extraordinary light ray. RO is the angle of refraction for ordinary light ray. Coming to the refractive indices, MUO. If you observe carefully, the angle of incidence is same for the both the rays. Hence, MUO we can write it as sin I by sin RO. That is angle of refraction for ordinary light ray. Sorry, refractive index for ordinary light ray is nothing but sin I by sin RO. refractive index for extraordinary light ray is nothing but sin I by sin Re. Here, if you observe this particular diagram, you can easily understand that for the calcite crystal, Rho is less than Re. Hence, mu O is greater than mu E. Hence, velocity. From this, we conclude that velocity of extraordinary ray is less than velocity of ordinary ray, because angle of refraction and refractive indices are reciprocal to each other. Similarly, refractive index and the velocity are also reciprocal to each other, because we know that mu equal to C by V. Hence, if you observe carefully, for the calcite crystal, the velocity of extraordinary ray is less than the velocity of ordinary ray. Sorry, mu VO is greater than VE. 1 minute. Here, mu O is greater than mu E in the sense velocity of extraordinary ray is greater than velocity of ordinary ray. So, for the calcite crystal, velocity of extraordinary ray, in other words, we can say that extraordinary ray travels faster than the ordinary ray in the case of calcite crystal. This is regarding the double refraction. Here, the beauty is both the light rays are plane polarized. Hence, we call it as double refraction. This is the theory regarding the double refraction. Now, a scientist named Huygens, he also explained the simple theory in order to explain this particular double refraction, which is popularly known as Huygens theory of double refraction. Huygens theory of double refraction. In order to understand this particular Huygens theory of double refraction, Huygens assumed or postulated that each and every point on the surface of the doubly refracting crystal. Yeah, I got to tell one more important point. The crystals which are exhibiting this double refraction phenomena are called as doubly refracting crystals. Doubly refracting crystals. Examples we have calcite, quartz, etc. So, simply we conclude that double refraction is nothing but whenever an unpolarized light is incident on anisotropic crystals such as calcite or quartz, it undergone two refractions. One light ray satisfies the ordinary laws of refraction having components perpendicular to the optic axis, which we call it as ordinary light ray, and the other light ray does not satisfy the ordinary laws of refraction having vibrations parallel to the principal section of the crystal. We call it as extraordinary ray. But both the light rays are plane polarized. Hence, this phenomena is called as double refraction or birefringence. And the crystals which are satisfying this phenomena, we call it as doubly refracting crystals. In order to explain the theory behind this double refraction, Huygens proposed three important points. One is, each and every point on the surface of the doubly refracting crystal will act as the source for generation of two wavefronts. One is ordinary wavefront, O wavefront corresponding to ordinary light ray, and the second one is E wavefront corresponding to extraordinary light ray. According to Huygens, each and every point on the surface of the doubly refracting crystal is source for generation of two wavefronts. One is O wavefront corresponding to ordinary light ray. Ordinary light ray or O ray. And the second one is E wavefront corresponding to extraordinary light ray or E ray. Simply we can say that. And the O wavefront or ordinary wavefront having, if you observe carefully, the angle of incidence is same for both the light rays, but the angle of refraction is, for ordinary light ray it is same. That means ordinary light ray travels equal velocity in all directions in the crystal, whereas extraordinary ray travels different velocities in different directions in the crystal. Hence, ordinary wavefront is having spherical in shape because it is traveling equal velocities in all directions. Hence, it is spherical in shape. Whereas extraordinary ray, which is having different velocities in different directions, hence it is ellipsoid in shape. And then Huygens also emphasized that in certain crystals, that is the second point, in certain crystals, the ordinary light ray lies, or the sphere lies outside the ellipsoid. That means that in certain crystals called negative crystals, we call it as negative crystals. I represented a diagram, then you can easily understand that. Sphere I represented with the pink color chalk, ellipsoid I represented with the white color chalk, and optic axis I represented with the blue. So along the optic axis, both the ordinary light ray and the extraordinary light ray having the same velocity, but apart from that, the ordinary light ray is having, this is in the case of negative crystal. The example for negative crystal is calcite. This ellipsoid represents the extraordinary light ray, and this sphere represents the ordinary light ray or O ray. This is in the case of that means the second important postulate given by the Huygens is, in certain crystals called negative crystals, the ellipsoid lies outside the sphere, indicate us that in the negative crystals the extraordinary ray travels faster than the ordinary ray in all directions except along the optic axis. And the third important postulate given by Huygens regarding this particular double refraction is, in certain crystals called positive crystals, the sphere lies outside the ellipsoid as shown in the diagram in all directions except along the optic axis. I represented the optic axis with the blue color dotted lines. So this pink color chalk mark represents the E ray here, and the white color chalk mark represents the sphere, which is ordinary ray, and the blue color dotted line, this is in the case of positive crystals, and the blue color dotted lines represents the optic axis of the crystal. Similarly here also, optic axis of the crystal. So according to Huygens theory, each and every point on the surface of the doubly refracting crystal will act as the source for generation of two wavefronts. One wavefront, O wavefront, corresponding to ordinary ray, which is having same velocity in all directions, hence it is spherical in shape, whereas the second wavefront is E wavefront corresponding to extraordinary ray, which is having different velocities in different directions, hence it is ellipsoid in shape. And then third important, in certain crystals the ellipsoid lies outside the sphere, which we call it as negative crystals. It represents that extraordinary ray travels faster than the ordinary ray in all directions except along the optic axis. In certain crystals called positive crystals, example quartz crystal, the ordinary ray is having the same velocity, but the extraordinary ray travels less than the ordinary ray in all directions except along the optic axis. Along the optic axis, both the rays travels with the same velocity. This is regarding the double refraction and Huygens theory of double refraction. All of you note down it. If you have any doubt, please feel free to contact me. Thank you all.